Alright, today I'm going to talk about how you play our new game, Go Adventure. So the first thing you do is pull out the blank cards unless you plan to use them. These are the blanks. And then you got to sort through the deck and find the adventure cards. They're depicted with big rectangular pictures. There's beach day, zoo day, movie night, there's camping. Alright, let's see what else we got. Picnicking, hiking, fishing, and snow day. I think on our next print we'll actually make the image on the back different so you'll be able to tell which ones they are by flipping the deck over. So once you have those, they go in the middle of the table. After you have the adventure cards out, you can shuffle the deck. Okay, we're going to pretend there's 3 people playing and each person gets 5 cards to start. And then the remaining stack goes like this. For sake of making this easy, we'll flip all the cards over so you can see what we have. And actually, when we play with small kids, the first few times we play, we actually play with the cards flipped over to make it easy for everybody. So the goal of the game is to pack all the items you need to complete an adventure. So for every adventure card, there are 4 required items that you need to complete the adventure. So, and they're color coded to match. You can see this one matches with snow day. So there's 3 other items. Here's sled. So there's 2 buried in the deck. You start with the youngest person and then you go clockwise. And you have 3 options when it's your turn. Actually, I guess technically 4. So you could choose to play a required item on the deck. You could play a random item on a deck. Or you could play a funny action or a skip a turn card. The skip a turn has the circle with a line through it, and the funny action has the exclamation mark. So if I happen to have had all 4 required items for one of the adventures in my pile and it's my turn, I can play them all at once. Or if you needed 2 to complete one, you could play both those at the same time. But you can only affect one adventure at a time. If you choose not to play a required item, you could play a random item. So you can play a random item on any one of the adventures, but you have to make up a story as to why you need it. So for example, I've got a tennis racket, I'm going to play it on beach day, and what I'm going to do with it is use it to sift through the sand and look for shells. Or I could choose to do a funny action card, pick someone to make fish faces to attract fish while fishing, and I pick somebody in the group. Or I might pick, I have a skip a turn card, you forgot to put gas in the car so you lose a turn, and I'll pick somebody to lose a turn. And you keep going around. Again, you can only either play required items, a funny action, skip a turn, or a random item during your turn. And the way we like to fill up the deck so it's obvious how many cards are needed to complete the adventure, we'll tuck the random items under the adventure card and we'll stick the required items like this. So as they fill up, you'll be able to tell how many cards are needed. So if you're the one to complete the adventure, you get to take it. The winner at the end of the game is the person with the most completed adventures. And so you just sort of play through that way. And what we've decided for a tiebreaker is if 2 people have 4 adventures, you take a look at your adventures, and the person that has the most random items as part of the pile of their adventures wins the tiebreaker. So I'll just play through a few just so you can kind of see. So if I'm the youngest and I'm starting and I say I'm going to use my tennis racket on the beach, every time you put a card down, you draw from the pile. This person might say, I'm going to put the bug spray on hiking. And then they draw a card for their pile, and this person decides they're going to do skip a turn. They'll make a pile of the skip a turn and funny actions, and they'll say that they're going to skip me, which would then go to this person, and they could choose to play something on camping, and then they have to take a card, and they got a funny action one, and then, oh, I forgot this person take a card. And you just sort of go around, and what's fun is as you get closer to the end of the game, it'll be like a battle to complete the adventures, and they'll start to go fast, and people will strategize and kind of hold on to the required item cards, hoping other people will put some down. But it's fun. Just as an example, you can see here's picnicking. There's 2 random items that people played on it. It's got 3 of the 4 required items that have been played. And so I happen to have the basket. It's my turn. I put it down and I've completed it. We have all the items we need to do it. So I take the pile, and so I technically have a score of 1. And that's essentially how you play. We've played with 2 people. We've played with 8 people. We find if you have 2 to 4 people, everybody should get 5 cards. If you have 5 to 8 people, everybody should get 4 cards. That extends the game. You'll find that eventually, as you play long enough, this pile will go away and there'll be no more cards to draw. But you just keep playing through until everyone's cards are all gone. If you want to make it more competitive, like you're playing with adults and less kids, one wrinkle you could play is if you had a random item card and someone had a completed pile in their possession, you could play the random item card on that pile and steal that deck. So that's just a way to kind of make it a little bit crazier. But with young kids, it's probably fine to play just the way we described.